Welcome, everyone. We are talking about our India Panchakarma retreat coming up this summer, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, I'm going to make sure everybody can see this. Awesome, great. All right, so thank you so much for spending your evening with me and learning about this Panchakarma experience and what it means to go to India and experience Panchakarma. So I'm calling it Sattvic Soul Journey, and it's taking place this summer. The dates are July 25th to August 8th. And so it's 14 nights, 15 days in South India. And we had a similar retreat about a year and a half ago. I took a group of 10 people with me. My friend and assistant Anu took a group to the same retreat center. And this is a place that I've been going to for many years. I've known these doctors. I was thinking, I think I met them maybe 29 years ago. So we've been good friends, almost like family. So I really trust bringing my clients, my friends, and my own family there for their care. So I think I know all of you, or we've been in class together, or some capacity we've met. And so going to India has been one of my favorite things. I first went there with my daughter's father in 1997, right before I went to the Ayurvedic Institute in Albuquerque to pursue my studies. So the first trip was all the way back then. And yeah, I just keep going back. And instead of going many other places in the world, India just keeps pulling me back. So over the years, it's been lovely to see the changes that have taken place in India. For example, a lot of things have changed. The sanitation has changed. The quality of the water has improved. There's just a little less chaos. So overall, things are more in flow and a little easier to navigate and to travel around, which makes life easier. And so, as I mentioned, I'm calling it Sattvic Soul Journey, and Sattva is a Sanskrit word that translates to the energy of truth, harmony, purity, and clarity. So when we are in a sattvic state of mind, we feel centered and stable and peaceful internally. And this is what Ayurveda leads us toward, is a balanced and centered state of mind coming from a balanced body. So mind, body, consciousness are all connected, as we know. And that's really the goal of Ayurveda, is to reestablish what's also called swastha, or to be established in your health. And I think I have a slide even about that. Yeah, so one who is established in the self, who has balanced doshas, balanced digestive fire and tissues and bodily processes, and whose mind and soul and senses are full of bliss, is called a healthy person. And this is according to the ancient Ayurvedic text. So, and this is what we're doing in Panchakarma. So we're going to India to cleanse and rejuvenate, detoxify, and come back to our innate intelligence and optimal state of health. So pictured here is Dr. Krishnamurti, Dr. N.V. Krishnamurti, and his daughter Abhigna. And he is the ninth generation Ayurvedic doctor, or Vaidya, to the Maharajas of Mysore, to the kingdom of Mysore. So his father, grandfather, great-grandfather, going back 9 generations, were the attending physicians to the kings in South India. And their daughter is currently, I think she's in her 4th year of Ayurvedic studies at the local Ayurvedic college. And she will be the 10th direct generation of Ayurvedic doctors and their family. So they're very committed. Their whole lives are an expression of Ayurveda. And they're also such lighthearted, kind people. And this is a portrait of Dr. Krishnamurti and his wife, Dr. Purnima. So she is the one who will be our primary attending physician, the one that you will be, if you end up coming on the retreat, she'll be the one who is meeting with you for consultations, feeling your pulse, setting up your Panchakarma plan, customizing the details for you, recommending herbs and anything you may need for your health. She'll primarily be attending to you, and Dr. Krishnamurti is on site. He will be primarily with us in the evenings and holding satsang. So every evening, I think it's maybe from 8 to 9, he holds satsang in the yoga studio where he poses a topic or a question, and then as a group we discuss it. So these are usually very interesting and lively conversations. And we are going to Mysore. The original name of Mysore is Mysuru, or it's actually named after Chamundeshwari, the goddess who slayed the demon Mahishasura. So it's known as Mahishasura Uru and shortened to Mysuru or Mysore. So at the top of Chamundi Hills is this beautiful temple, the Chamundeshwari temple, the goddess who protected and preserved the city. And so people from all over India, all over the world, make pilgrimage to Mysore to climb to the top of Chamundi Hills or take a bus to the top of the hills, go to the temple and give an offering and ask for blessings. So this is a really beautiful state, kind of right in the middle of the tip of South India. So it's not right along the coast, it's more inland. And it's the seat of the Wadiyar dynasty. So these Maharajas who held power in India for many years until the British invaded. And actually it was the Mysore Maharaja who was the last king to maintain his power in all of India before he finally relinquished power and India became a democracy. And this is back in the 1940s that all of this happened, not too long ago, actually. And so one thing that's special about this royal family is they are known for preserving a lot of the rich Indian heritage. So yoga and the fine arts, Ayurveda, martial arts, dancing, a lot of these art forms have been sponsored and preserved by the royal family. And even Krishnamacharya, who is the famous and revered teacher of Patabi Joyce, BKS Iyengar, and Desikachar, is from Mysore and was funded by the Maharaja of Mysore to bring yoga out into the world. So a lot of yoga as we know it these days is coming from that tradition. Oops. And it's also, the town of Mysore, the city of Mysore is also known for its lively, really ancient market where you can find spices and incense and color and flowers and bananas, you name it. So many beautiful treasures in the market. And Mysore is also famous for its sandalwood and for its silk. There's a silk factory in Mysore. They make the famous Mysore silk saris, these beautiful silk saris that the women wear, and they make other things from the silk as well. Sandalwood is not as easy to find in Mysore. You used to be able to buy it from special places that produced pure sandalwood. It's become more endangered these days, so it's a little trickier to find the pure sandalwood, but Mysore is really known for that. And it's also known for its pleasant climate. It doesn't tend to get extremely hot or extremely cold. And the people are pretty relaxed and friendly. So it's a really comfortable place to be. Any questions or comments so far? You're welcome to share anything that comes to mind as we go along. So pictured here is our amazing driver, Shiva Raju, and Anita. She was one of our participants. She's a friend of mine. She was also our photographer on the last retreat. And I checked in with our travel agent, Jaya Lakshmi, and I requested Shiva Raju for our next retreat. And I think he will be available. He's a very good driver. He drove us to all of our outings, excursions, temples, palaces, shopping trips, all the different things we did. He was our guy. So yeah, I'm thinking we'll be able to get him again. Very kind person. Doesn't speak really good English, so it's an opportunity to practice our Kannada. So Kannada is the local language in Mysore. So a lot of people do speak some level of English quite well, but the local tongue is called Kannada. So if you plan on coming to the retreat, I'm asking everyone to arrive in the city of Bengaluru. So the other name of Bengaluru is Bangalore. You might have heard of Bangalore. It's one of the tech capitals of Asia. So even a lot of Microsoft employees go back and forth between Bangalore and Redmond, Washington. So Bangalore is quite a large city, and it's about 3 to 4 hours north of Mysuru. So I'm asking everyone to arrive sometime between 1 and 6 a.m. Seems like an odd time, but many flights do arrive at that time. And then I will have everyone find each other in the airport. Shiva Raju or another driver will find you and pick you up in the shuttle and then drive you to Mysore. And so that's the plan. And so you'll arrive in Mysore probably around 7, 8 a.m. and have light breakfast, rest. We'll have a relaxed day and an orientation, maybe even go on one outing that day. And this is something important. I just want to put this out there that if you think you want to come or if you are coming on the trip and you are interested in visiting other places in India, I highly suggest that you visit those places before the trip, or if you visit some places after the retreat, that it's a very relaxed kind of setting, like you're going to a coastal town and relaxing on the beach or by the temples, but you're not trying to sightsee and be very, very active immediately after the retreat, because Panchakarma is such a deep cleansing process and you'll be in a pretty calm, relaxed state. So to then start hustling and traveling to a lot of places would not be advised. So for example, if you wanted to see the Taj Mahal or Jaipur or Varanasi, something like that, I'd recommend trying to see that first and then meeting up with us for the retreat. Or if you think you want to go to Kerala or like an ashram in South India afterwards, then you could do something like that, and our travel agent could arrange your transport and all the details of what you want to do and how long you want to do it. So just putting that out there. Oops. Oh, it's jumping. Here we go. So with that said, I do highly recommend that you stay in India for at least 5 days following the retreat to integrate and to rejuvenate. So last time we did have a few people who got on a plane within 1 or 2 days of the retreat and they managed, but it's such a big flight, such a big journey that it's just nice to have some downtime and rest and integrate and then make your way to the airport and return home. So I just want everybody to know these things up front. This is a photo taken at the flower market inside the Devaraja market. So this is just one giant pile of roses, and you'll see baskets and piles of flowers, and they're mostly used for offerings in the temples. There are a lot of Hindu temples all around South India. There are also Muslims and Sikhs and Jains and Christians and Buddhists. You see all religions represented, but you mostly will see the Hindu temples. So every day there's different kinds of pujas going on throughout the days in the temples, in people's homes, and this is largely what all the flowers are used for. So one moment here. I'm just going to take a look here. Okay, great. And okay, so some of the places that I'm thinking we will visit will be the Mysore Palace. And so you might have seen that photo a few slides back that was all lit up with lights. So one of the evenings we'll have our driver take us in the shuttle and we'll go in the evening when they light up the Mysore Palace. It's just really beautiful to see the palace all lit up, and it's a big event. And then we'll also go there during the day and go inside the palace and see a lot of the artwork and the architecture and the sculptures, and even perhaps hire a guide for part of that time to hear more about the culture and the history and the significance of the royal palace. It's really quite beautiful. I mentioned Chamundi Hills, and so that is a really fun place. Last time he parked halfway up the hill, and where the driver parked, there were a bunch of monkeys. We got to just sit and interact with the monkeys and watch them do their business, which is always very entertaining. So from that point, part of our group climbed to the top of the hills and part took the bus with him. And so that's a special thing to do. And we will probably go, there's this beautiful temple called Nimish Amba along the river. So we'll go to this goddess temple. It's a wish-fulfilling temple along the much beloved Kaveri River in Mysore. So these are examples of things that we'll be doing, even going to some ancient temples that were carved thousands of years ago and just hold a lot of significance. Oops. So this is an example of an offering. This is right before we went into the Nimish Amba temple. You can purchase things like flowers and fruits and coconuts and take them into the temple. And then the priest will crack the coconut and give a blessing and then give you back your items to then take home and have on your altar. And so there's always a lot to see. So my experience of Panchakarma, so what I've observed facilitating Panchakarma in the US and receiving Panchakarma in India and watching other people receive it here and there is that it's such a deep, profound process. And there's this term in yoga called pratyahara, and it's a withdrawal of the mind and senses. So not only is the body being cleansed and detoxified and healed, but the mind and the senses and the emotions start dropping inward and can potentially become very quiet. And from that quiet inner state comes a lot of clarity and peace. So clarity around making decisions, or a sense of internal peace that just is new and different. And this is something that actually all of our participants experienced last year. We had a Zoom call a month later after we came back, and everybody said, I'm not in a rush. I'm not bothered. I'm just moving at a slower pace and everything is still getting done. I'm just operating differently. So it's like a reset or reboot to the operating system internally occurred. And so it's kind of hard to really put it into words, but this is something that is kind of the magic, of Panchakarma, especially when you're experiencing it for 10 days in a row, literally 3 hours a day of treatments. So these are some of the local practitioners, some of the therapists that work on the clients during our stay. And so traditionally women work on women and male therapists work on men. This is how they do it. They have you wear these little bamboo undies to protect your modesty, but then you're laying on a teakwood table, and there are usually 2 or 3 women attending to you, pouring oils and herbal milk and scrubs and cleansing and purifying the body. And so I think all of you here have an idea about Panchakarma. Some of you are even Panchakarma practitioners and know it very well. For some of you who are just, remembering what it is or what it's about, I definitely wanted to touch on what Panchakarma really is. And so the Sanskrit word Panchakarma means 5 cleansing actions. So there are these traditional 5 cleansing actions that are given based on your constitution and based on your need. So not everyone will receive these cleansing actions. You might receive 1 or 2 of them. So the first one is vamana, therapeutic vomiting for accumulation of kapha dosha or mucus in the body. So at our last retreat, no one received vamana. No one needed to release, this type of ama. So we did not do that. Virechana is where different herbs or ghees or oils are given to kind of provoke the liver and gallbladder and pitta dosha and purify the skin, purify the blood, release stored anger, irritability from the body, or inflammation. So this is given to pretty much everybody during the Panchakarma, and it causes some loose stools and lightness in the body. So this is a very traditional cleansing procedure. Basti is therapeutic enema, and that is only given to some people. Not everyone received it last time, so you may or may not receive that. It's primarily given for Vata dosha. Then the next one is Nasya. Nasya is the administration of herbal teas or oils or even milk sometimes into the nostrils to clarify the doshas in the head. So to bring clarity to the mind, release the upper body, the neck, and the face. And this may or may not be given to you during your Panchakarma. This is only given for some people. And the last one is Rakta Moksha. So in India, traditionally, like in an Ayurvedic hospital, Rakta Moksha involves putting leeches on the body. So if a person has some really stubborn eczema or psoriasis, they might go into an Ayurvedic hospital and sit for 1 hour, and they put leeches on the site of the skin condition. And within that hour, the leeches release the stagnant blood and things tend to clear up quite well. I was with a friend long time back, and she went to an Ayurvedic hospital and had the leech therapy for her acne. They put 2 leeches on her face, and the leeches released quite a lot of blood. And she said her acne went away for about 6 months, But of course, it was more of an internal cause, and so it wasn't the permanent solution. But in the context of Panchakarma, it can be very helpful. No one probably will receive leech therapy, so they'll be giving different herbs instead for blood purification. And so these are the kind of bigger therapies, but really what you're going to be experiencing daily during Panchakarma are treatments such as Abhyanga, the warm herbal synchronized oil massage. And Abhyanga in India looks a little different than Abhyanga in the States or in Canada. So Abhyanga in India looks like laying on a teak wood table, and they usually will change your position, have you on your back, your side, your belly, your other side, even sitting up. And there are usually two therapists applying the warm oil and doing the treatments. There's a treatment called Swedana, and that is where you're inside of a teak wood box and sweating and steaming. So the steam, the herbal steam, helps open the pores. Shirodhara is the pouring of warm herbal oil over the forehead, and this is usually given a couple of times in this kind of context of Panchakarma. Udvartana is an herbal scrub, and this feels amazing. So after the oil massage, they apply this herbal powder and scrub, and it's very invigorating for the lymphatic system and the blood circulation. Another treatment that's lovely is called Patra Pinda Sweda, where they make boluses, like cloth bags that are filled with herbs and oils, sometimes milk, and they'll dip them in hot oil and then just touch them along your body, and they're usually quite hot. And that can help release pain, tension, joint stiffness, these kinds of things. So the treatments are very nourishing and replenishing. So typically you would have a 2-hour treatment session in the morning, have a break, have lunch, and then go back for 1 more hour of treatments in the afternoon. Does anybody have any questions about these therapies? Good. All right. So you might be wondering, what are these things? Is this my lunch? This is not lunch. These are what's used for facials. So they prepare all the facial ingredients fresh right before they give the treatment. So they're in the kitchen making, like, I think this is a coconut paste, and this is a shredded cucumber and a pureed papaya and some kind of a mint paste. I'm not quite sure what all these things are actually, but they're all freshly made, grown locally, and they do such a beautiful facial massage. And so the facial will usually be given at least once during the Panchakarma and toward the end of the week. So kind of toward the end of your retreat, you'll experience the facial. So, a typical day, you might be wondering what a typical day at the retreat center looks like. So when you first arrive, we're going to take about 3.5 days of resting and going on excursions, going shopping, getting some beautiful Indian clothes, visiting temples and palaces. So our first 3 days are really going to be about having fun, going on excursions. And then from there, the next 10 days will be really focused on your Panchakarma. So not as much, shopping and traveling around and going out. You can do a little bit of that, but we're going to really try to focus on being more settled and resting and receiving treatment, so 10 days. So it starts early, 6 a.m. we gather in the yogashala for yoga and pranayama, meditation, maybe chanting, and then have a little break. Breakfast is around 8 or 8:30. And actually, Dr. Krishnamurti, the primary doctor, part of his offering, his sadhana, his personal practice, is to cook breakfast every morning for everybody at the center. So he's in the kitchen making a big pot of sambar, this delicious soup, every morning. And so they serve slightly different breakfast. I mean, I have to say the Panchakarma food in India is different than Panchakarma food in the States. It's not khichdi 3 times a day. So there's a lot more variety of flavor. Sometimes they even serve dosa and idli and chutney for breakfast. Sometimes they might even give you a little sweet on the side of your plate. And then Dr. Krishnamurti, he's like, it's fine. As long as you're happy and feel good, no problem. So the food is delicious. And then the treatments are typically between 10 and 1, or you can rest. Then there's a delicious lunch, treatments again in the afternoon, and then dinner, and then satsang with Dr. Krishnamurti is around 8 p.m. And on Saturdays, they tend to host a Dhanvantari Homa, which is a big puja or ritual in their small temple site that's on the land. So they bring a Hindu priest in, and he does this very elaborate, maybe it's like a 1.5 to 2 hour puja. And so we're invited to go to that. Sometimes Dr. Krishnamurti will perform the Agnihotra fire ceremony in the Yogashala as well, and that's very beautiful and powerful. I wanted to mention about the food. It is vegetarian. Everything is made fresh, grown locally. It's not necessarily vegan, so a lot of the dishes don't have any dairy products or ghee in them. Some dishes might have a little bit of ghee, but there's not tons of ghee in everything, just in case you're wondering. So the cooks might come around and offer to pour a little bit of ghee on top of your bowl of food, but it's not like everything is going to taste like ghee. And sometimes they might give a little cup of a diluted yogurt drink or a little sweet pudding with some milk and something like that. But basically it's vegetarian, and things like eggs, meat, and alcohol are not even on the premises. So those kind of things we're not having during the retreat. And so this is a photo of our group from last year, minus one person. So our friend Anita, oops, did I just bump out of there? Let me see. Oh, I think I stopped my screen share. Sorry. I'm just going to get back to that. Oops, what did I just do there? I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay, back on. So our friend Anita took the photo, and this is Anu and the rest of our, oops, the rest of our group. So yeah, that was about halfway through our retreat. And you can see here, somebody gave a beautiful testimonial. This is actually from someone who went the year before from my recommendation. And she went there with some stagnation, some pain in her liver and gallbladder that she'd had for many years. And after the retreat, the pain was gone and never returned. And she felt more flexible, more limber, not as stiff. And her cravings and her digestion completely reset. And the thing she really probably loved the most was how comfortable she felt there, that she felt like family. And Dr. Purnima and all the staff are just so warm, and they give hugs and such sweet smiles and special care they give everyone. So she enjoyed the songs and was taking notes the whole time she was there, she said. So yeah, I have a whole video on my website where people are giving their verbal testimonials about what they experienced and how they felt and how the experience impacted them. So you're welcome to go to that page and listen to that if you like. Here's another photo. So anytime we're on excursions and we see a coconut stand on the side of the road, we always ask our driver, stop for coconuts. So we have bottled water, that's fine, but even better than bottled water are the local coconuts, which are so hydrating and so delicious. So I wanted to just share with everybody that I want to extend a special offer that I know on my website currently I have the post early bird registration rate, but for those of you attending the call tonight, I want to extend the early bird pricing for you. So if you, oops, I don't know why that jumped. Okay. If you're staying in a room by yourself, then that would be, the price is here. This is the early bird price. So that would be the price. And if you're staying in a room with somebody else, then the early bird price is here. And if you're going with a friend, you each would save $250 from that price. So what I'm asking is, if you're serious about going and you're committed, then I'm asking for a $1,000 deposit to hold your space. So that will hold your space, and then the full balance for the retreat is due by May 31st. And then I'll be sending the funds to the retreat center so they can prepare everything for us. So what the package includes are the 14 nights, our accommodation, meals, the 10 days of Panchakarma, all the therapies, all the consultations, your transportation to and from the airport if you're coming to and from the retreat center directly, and sightseeing, so all of our excursions and entry tickets to temples and palaces, things like that, that's all included. So what's not included would be If you want to buy extra Ayurvedic herbs and medications at the retreat center, they have a little pharmacy there. So those things are optional. And then, of course, your own personal items or, when you go shopping. But basically, everything's included except your flight to and from India and personal items. Any questions about any of that? Okay, good.
Sarah, I had a question. My husband wanted to know if the retreat center is air conditioned.
It is not air conditioned. They may be able to bring in some air conditioning to some of the rooms if that makes a difference. We were there in December last time and nobody requested it or needed it. And July, the weather in July in India tends to be pretty moderate. It's not the peak of summer, like it starts getting hot in North America in July. India's hot season is more April and May. So their summer's already over. So it's kind of like the idea of our early fall, but it's pretty mild. And so um, I can look into that just to find out specifically if they can bring in an AC unit into the some of the rooms if that's requested. All the rooms do have fans, so they're, fans that we can use in each room.
Okay. So yeah, he doesn't really know what it's like. India, it must be hot. So he doesn't really know.
Yeah, of course.
He's just,
I know we think India is hot, and we may have some days that are warmer, and even some days that are cooler, even rain. And we can look, I need to look at the temperature for that time of the year. Again, I did look before, so it tends to be pretty mild and comfortable at
hmm
night. And, I was in India once in May, and I have to say that was hard, especially along the coast where it's very humid. So, like in Tamil Nadu or Kerala, in May is not ideal. But inland in Mysore later in the year is much, much milder. And my daughter was in India in July 2 summers ago, and she said she was almost cold at a couple of times. So, in terms of like clothing to bring, and we'll talk more about this in some of our group calls, and it's in some of the materials that I send. But the layers that I bring to India are usually only like a sweatshirt, like a zip up sweatshirt or a hoodie, and a shawl. So I don't take like a puffer jacket. Some people would take a raincoat, but there's not that much rain. So usually like a sweater or a sweatshirt and a shawl and a couple of pairs of socks, is really all you're going to need for layers for warmth. Of course, it's good to have your leggings, your pants. Honestly, blue jeans, I think, are kind of heavy. Like some people in India wear blue jeans. I've taken them to India and then end up not even using them. So I think lighter clothing is better with just some lighter layers. And so people have genuine questions and concerns about some of these things. Like, should I be concerned about getting sick in India? Or maybe you've heard about the famous Delhi belly, or things like this. Or my daughter's in Egypt and they call it Pharaoh's Revenge. So all the countries have these different names. But like I mentioned earlier, the sanitation and the quality of the water has gotten so much better that my last 3 times to India, my daughter and I have not gotten sick at all, which has been a relief because sometimes there can be some bacteria or some amoeba that can cause some stomach upset for a couple of days. And no one on the retreat had that. So I was so happy about that. A couple of people had some minor kind of sniffles or cold just from the temperature changes that cleared up within a day or two. So honestly, everybody stayed really healthy, and that was wonderful. In terms of spending money, so you really are only going to need spending money for your personal items, gifts, souvenirs. It's good to bring a combination of cash, so fresh, crisp $100 bills, and an ATM card and a credit card. So you can use the ATMs. I will be bringing a guy into the retreat center to exchange money, so you don't have to go to a bank, but he'll bring rupees and you can give him the US currency and exchange your money that way. And it just, I don't know, it depends on how much you think you want to carry back. I mean, India is a treasure box. There's a lot of beauty, a lot of treasures. I think if you bring one good sized suitcase and leave room in it to bring things back, that will be probably more than enough. So if you bring too much money, you can always take it home. Traveler's checks are pretty much obsolete. Nobody really uses them. The banks are not that easy with traveler's checks. So we can check in more about that later. And will you be able to go on local excursions during the Panchakarma retreat? So I mentioned that a little bit, that it's advised to stay on site at the retreat center as much as possible. I mean, going for walks on the property or on the adjacent property, there's a park nearby, or walking through the village in the evenings is really nice. If you want to go with a friend or family member and hire a taxi and go into the city on a mission to get something, that would be fine. But I just recommend not doing it every day. If you want to do that a handful of times, that's fine. But the more kind of calm and rested you can be, the more benefit you'll get out of the experience. So bringing a really good book to read, or bringing an art project, something like this, something to do in the afternoons that's calming and meditative is great. There is Wi-Fi at the retreat center throughout, so you'll be able to access, with your phone, or if you have a laptop, you'll be able to connect with Wi-Fi. You can connect with people outside as much as you like, but again, as quiet as we can be and as inward focused, the better. And so everyone can decide for themselves how they want to do that, but it is available. And oh, I think I doubled up. I put the same question. I need to delete that. Sorry. Yeah. And then what to pack. So I have a thorough packing list, and I'll be sending that out as well. So packing light is good. You do need to bring an adapter to plug into their wall so you can plug in your devices. And I'll be giving you all that information. It's just in one document. It's already ready. So that will be coming later. And this is a photo from a couple of years ago. I took my daughter to India, and her auntie took us out to the girls' high school that she teaches at. And this is their uniform, and they were all just so happy to have visitors. Oops, I just want to take a look in the chat here. Okay, great. Thanks, Nisha. Sounds great. Yeah, reach out anytime you have questions. All right, so what happens next? And I'm wondering, before we go into that, if anybody else has any questions or comments so far. Let me see here. Oops. All right, I just want to grab a link here. So we don't have 10 or 12 spaces open. We have probably 3 spaces open in the retreat. So I just wanted to mention that. And I put a link in the chat. If you check the chat, if you're interested in coming on the retreat with us and we haven't had a conversation yet, you can set up an appointment with me. It's a 30-minute conversation that we can talk about the Panchakarma retreat and just really make sure it's a good fit for you, that it's the right thing for you at this time. So that's important. And I do have a few openings tomorrow morning on my calendar. So if you wanted to get on my calendar and discuss the retreat, tomorrow morning is a good time, or sometime on Monday is also a possibility. And then you can see the link there, but if you haven't had a chance to look at the retreat website page, I'm going to put that in the chat as well. So that page has all the details of the retreat. I have a couple of links to videos. There's a video of me interviewing Dr. Purnima a couple of years ago, and she talks about managing stress. And she's just so gracious and lovely and kind. I just really adore her. And there's also a video of last year's retreat guest talking about their experience. So that's inspiring. So, okay. One thing I've been so happy to see when I go to India lately, I always wonder if I'm still going to see the cows on the street. So this is in a small village outside of Mysore. And yes, I'm happy to report that the cows are alive and well and just in high volumes all over, everywhere. Cows wandering the streets, herds of goats, herds of sheep. You'll see the goat herders bringing their goats in, to rest in the evening. So lots of animals, which I think is part of the charm of India. You won't see this as much in the bigger cities like Bangalore or Delhi. You won't see as many cows and animals, but in Mysore and the surrounding villages, it's still a way of life. and you see these scooters with families on them buzzing around everywhere. You'll probably get to ride in a rickshaw, which is always so fun. So, let's see. Okay, and so this is a view off of the rooftop terrace of the accommodations where we stay. So looking behind the retreat center, the sunset is there. There's a small village next door. In the village are a couple of small temples. So even throughout the day, throughout the night, you might hear chanting or singing. Sometimes they blast it on the loudspeaker. You'll be hearing like Hanuman chants in the early morning hours. So it's just part of the charm of India is, the devotion that's happening around the clock. So, yeah, I love that. All right. Anybody want to share anything or ask any questions? I think, yeah, we've connected. I know, Annie, you've been sharing with people. Um,
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I am going on this retreat with my husband and my two daughters, and uh, we're just so excited. And I never thought that I never had a desire to go to India. Um, but I feel like this is just the perfect circumstances for me to be there in a serene environment and with highly trained and educated healers, and to be there with my family. And so I just feel so honored and blessed and so thankful that you, Sarah, have managed to make this happen for for anyone that's interested, and for me and my family. Thank you.
oh, thank you so much, Annie. And I'm just so happy for you as an Ayurvedic practitioner and a Panchakarma practitioner who gives Panchakarma to many others to be able to go and to receive and to just 100% be in the receiving mode. So that's what's most exciting for me, for you, for you to be pampered.
I will take it.
Yeah. Susan or Barbara, do you have any questions at this time?
No, thank you though very much. Well, actually, I do. You suggest not to travel like 5 days, you say, or so, 3 to 5 days afterwards.
Yes.
Any suggestions what you do until then? Just you just take in the local sceneries because I mean you don't want to travel within India either, do you?
Well, if you want to stay for 5 days or so after, you're welcome to stay at the retreat center, and they can even arrange for some short outings nearby to go to some beautiful places that are relaxing and lovely. So
Oh,
you're welcome to stay on at the retreat center, and the fee for the room and board is pretty, moderate, and so that's an
okay.
option. A couple of women took a car to the Oroville ashram in Tamil Nadu. They traveled together, went to Oroville for a couple weeks afterwards. So they went straight to an ashram and just stayed there. So that was
Okay.
relaxing and lovely for them. That's an incredible place. Another woman hired a driver. He was with her for 3 days, and he brought her to Bailakupa, which is the second largest Tibetan settlement outside of Tibet and China. So there's Dharmasala in the north, and Bailakupa is a big one in Karnataka state. So she went to some of the Tibetan temples, and then he brought her to Kerala. So he brought her on a little driving tour for 3 days and stayed with her. So she did that.
Oh,
So
nice.
our travel agent can arrange something for
Okay.
you. Or if you wanted to go to Kerala and go to, a beach bungalow in Varkala for a few days and just sit by the ocean and then come back to the airport from there, something like that can be arranged. It's mostly
Okay.
that you're not trying to sightsee and change hotels every couple days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. So
Well,
great.
Sarah, thank you. I mean, I'll think about it. Um, might be above my uh, budget a little bit, but I will certainly think about it. And thank you so much for your presentation.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Susan, and Barbara and Annie. Thanks for being here. And for anyone else watching the recording later, if you have questions and want to connect anytime, feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening, ladies. Thank
Okie
you so
dokie.
much.
You too.
Good night.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Good night.